like you've walked back in time into a Christmas garden.
Except for the Hampton Inn sign over there.
Yeah, well, you know, you can't blot out everything. Or where the Amtrak comes by.
Yeah. Oh, this is wonderful.
But this is a 1914 Model T that we're riding in today. The other difference is that the road conditions here are much, much better than they would have been in 1914.
Ah.
The road conditions outside of a big city were not very favorable. They were mostly just dirt roads that were very rutted and pitted. So the ride is going to be a lot smoother now than it would be in 1914. Unless you happen to live in a big city like Chicago or Detroit or San Francisco, because they had their roads nicely bricked over with paver bricks.
Sure.
So those roads were fairly smooth. So this car could actually get up to about 35 miles an hour if the roads were smooth enough.
Wow.
Which is faster than most people were willing to go in the car because they were still kind of afraid of the speed of it. They were still a little timid about going quite that fast.
Were there a lot of accidents?
Not very many, because if you're only traveling at this speed, even if you hit something or someone, it's not usually fatal. So there were very few fatal accidents. That's why nobody was worried about seat belts or any of that. In the 1950s, when they started building those big tank cars that had the huge bumpers on them, and people started driving at 60, 70 miles an hour, they'd have an accident with that, and they'd find people outside the window and laying out of the car. And they'd find it, scratch their heads and said, maybe we should strap them in.
Sure. Was driving mainly a man's
It's
thing?
mainly a male-dominated thing, because in most of the time periods that these cars were on the road, up until the 1920s, it was usually not correct etiquette for women to be out alone anyway.
Oh.
So
Did they use it to
usually
commute to
always
work?
accompanied.
Oh, sure.
Women were only allowed certain occupations, and most of those originated around the home or a city that you lived in.
Right.
Like teaching or sewing or something like